VisioTech, where AI becomes equitable through accessibility and cybersecurity. Welcome to Systems and Technology Intelligence Lab's STIL 26 Basecamp, powered by the Watson Institute and the Truist Foundation.
To look and get information within the presentation, whether that was an image or whether that was, text that they are sharing on the screen. As soon as I capture that image with my glasses, it goes off into Meta, and we know that they've had some not so great progression when it pertains to data and privacy policy. And so that's one area where you see a conflict integrity. If your sites aren't properly labeled and somebody like myself is trying to access or input data, I could input the wrong data in which is being collected, and that could have tremendous ramifications. And the last one, availability. Just like Dr. Martin mentioned earlier, if I'm going on a site, I can't access it, and it's a login screen, I therefore have to go bring in a colleague or somebody else, or maybe even a spouse who does not have any of the credentials within the network that I'm using, especially when we were all working from home. And so if I'm unable to access that site and I have to bring in somebody like my spouse, yes, I trust him, but overall he is not not permitted to access what I am accessing. And that, it's times 1,000 when we're talking about banks, like where Dr. Martin works, or, hospital portals and, private information like that. So, yeah.
I literally will not use my Meta glasses at work for any reason. I told them when I was doing a presentation last year that I will never use my Meta glasses on our screen because of the nature that we're one of the two most regulated industries in America, healthcare and the finance system. And I was like, no way would I put my Meta glass, because anything that comes across their screen is supposed to be limited to our bank, but that will go off into the ether.
Yeah.
And that's something you got to be careful about. Even just working in Salesforce, having to be regulated around security mandates and such. And I do work in the healthcare sector, so I definitely second that notion that you have to be very careful, even like PDFs. And if they're extracting anyone's information, that could be a fine or anything that goes against the HIPAA compliance. So that's something that's very, very true to par. I'm kind of curious to know, just even the notion that Tiffany just kind of brought about. Dr. Martin, what would you say when it comes to what does it look like regarding accessibility and cybersecurity, how it functions as one system inside an organization?
This is how it can function, and we're starting to function that way where I work. And it's simply from as a colleague I have at work. I've been here like 8 years. Excuse me. I'm just like one of the worms you don't want in your system. I'm a good worm. I've been worming my way through the entire company in terms of accessibility for the last 8 years. We did what's called, in terms of a software design, a massive shift left in the software design process. From the left is beginning and the right will be the end. We're at the beginning of all software design. So at that point, anything that we make, it starts with the designing phase where we're doing storyboards, where anything we do is going to be set up with a person that deals with accessibility, one of these analysts on that team. So when we're working with the designers, the content strategists, we have an accessibility person right there. In terms of our regular websites that go out to the public right now, that's public facing, we're almost at AAA level on WCAG when it comes to accessibility, which is very, very rarely hit. Most folks are shooting for AA. We're at that point where we're almost at 97 to 99% no defects on our pages. That's because we rarely have a problem. We do the accessibility at the beginning. We put in our annotations. Then when they finish, they send it back and we take a look at it. We check it again, and it's rare that we have any kind of defect. And that's what getting us to that point. Well, the key is getting the other parts of the bank or the other part of any kind of organization, because most of the software is not designed. They're going to take something that's already purchased, and the vendors have massive problems trying to make the vendor software accessible. So the other parts of the bank are now where we're worming our way in. And as I said earlier, it's a social problem. We're working our way through the HR and the inclusion section, and we're proving that with our week of understanding last year, 20% of the people might have a disability, but we've shown mathematically almost 100% of everybody is affected by it. So
Mm.
if we make everything accessible for everybody, then everybody can use it because we just basically went down the list of the various people that had all types of cognitive disabilities that we knew that had them, that they didn't know they had them, or they had them and were hiding them, but we spot them all the time. So
You
we're
know,
working our way toward that other part of the bank. We've got the public facing part done. Now we're weaving our way through all the stuff through HR that'll work its way up through leadership and every part of the bank.
That's
wow.
actually really impressive, but I would think obviously the banking systems, like you have to be even that much more tighter and that's much more intentional to ensure that those things are kind of like gate kept to a certain degree and
Yeah,
aspect.
Oh, big time.
yeah.
The SEC does not play.
Not at all. Tim, did you have
Yeah.
something you want to add as well?
I did, and you mentioned social, and I know within, cybersecurity world, your best first line of defense is your people. And I hate to bring them up. They might be competitors, but I did want to get your take. JP Morgan Chase is doing a really great job of hiring diverse talent. More so, they have taken a very keen interest in neurodivergent talent that they're bringing in and doing an exceptional job over there. Um, what are the benefits of hiring people with disabilities within cybersecurity that you might see? We heard that you're a good worm. So, that might be something people might, consider now that we're having this conversation and bringing it to the forefront.
We're used to encountering people that disabilities are used to encountering things that are not made for us. It doesn't make a difference whether you have a physical disability or a cognitive or a neurodivergent type disability. Very few things are set up for you. So everything's a little different. You're going to have to continuously be vigilant on how to get things done because it probably doesn't follow the pattern that you want to follow. Those are the types of people that will spot anything that doesn't seem to be right.
Yeah,
And you know what I mean about traveling. This is just not right. Sometimes you get a feeling on it. It's just when it doesn't follow that, just follow that quote unquote feeling. While that feeling is actually not a feeling, that's an intuitive analysis of something that doesn't follow the pattern, which means it's sort of wrong. So using people like that are great because they're good at spotting things that aren't right because they have to navigate everything that's not right.
yeah. That to me, people with disabilities would be great at like pen testing. We're not
Oh,
doing we're not going the quote unquote, I like to say normal route. We're finding areas because it's just something that we just fall upon, and we have that intrinsic ingenuity because we have to figure out the workarounds, and those are the people that I believe you need, within SOC to have a broader view, bringing in a different out of the box perspective there. So, no, I really appreciate you bringing that perspective into this conversation.
some procedures. Oh, trying to get past BitLocker does not speak at the beginning of the login. I know how many seconds on my PC rather, how long it takes before I get to the BitLocker. If it
Right.
takes a little longer, something's different.
Mm.
Mhm.
What's different here? Oh, there was an update. Now what's going on? This is do I use something to take a look at it? Do I call somebody or do I try it again? Because this, like it or not, there's been too many mornings at 1 o'clock I'm lying in the bed and all of a sudden I hear something in the background and I wake up and I go, uh-oh, my machine's rebooting. It's updating. I'll get up and take off running because if I can stop it right then and see what's going on in the morning when I wake up, I might not be sitting at the right place for me to get in, and then I have a nightmare for 10 minutes.
Mm.
So it does happen.
Yeah. Updates for me are the worst and the great. Like, yes, thank you, protect the systems, but then all of the, settings that I have, in preparation for whatever, if it's whatever account that I have, I know that I'm then going to have to reset everything. And one tool or one practice that Dr. Martin told me a long time ago, he was like, have two phones. And I'm like, why would
Mm.
I ever have two phones? He said, because once you have an update, a security, update of any sorts on one phone, see if it works. If the phone doesn't work, you got to back up. And I was like, you know what? Across the board, that's computers, laptops, phones, devices, watches, everything for me. So just keep, I want the cybersecurity professionals out there just to keep that in mind when you are, patching vulnerabilities and so forth.
Absolutely. I'm there with you. I'm one of those people. I have two phones anyway, but just only for my own nervous system in that regard. Um, Dr. Martin, you actually mentioned a lot in regards to, again, the accessibility and cybersecurity and the things and nuances. Do you feel like they're actually woven together properly right now, or do you feel like it's working well currently?
It's rarely woven together properly and rarely working well. Uh, no, it's one that what two steps forward, one step back.
Mm.
But whoever's involved in this, if you have a disability, you're going to always have to be vigilant in making sure that they know that you're there because they will forget about you. The better it works, the better chance they're going to forget about you. So you have to continuously let them know. We just it's a never-ending thing with us. But I've been at this so long that I'm used to dealing with this, whether it's corporate security or something change here, something there, some software update that's not a license that makes this run and you can't get to it, or as my partner says, she's loved to do a presentation at one of the quote unquote conferences where it's like, why won't you let me give you my money? Which means you've done everything correctly, you've done all the shopping, you get to the end and I can't get my credit card number in because it's not accessible. That
Yeah.
happens continuously. It's like, I'm just trying to give you my money.
Those strong rooms for improvement is all I hear.
Mhm.
We definitely
Oh
got a
yeah.
little while to go, but we're
And,
slowly but
that's why Amazon gets many thousands of dollars from me every year simply because of one click. Thank you.
well, let me go ahead and spiffy up my investment on Amazon. I was feeling some type of way, but I think you just kind of geared me to start throwing some money at them a little bit more in that regard. So
I'm a systems. I have my issues with major conglomerates and supply chains like that, but I have more of an issue as a person with disability not being able to get access to retail. So,
and that's definitely a strong
yeah.
pain point that I think we need to all be aware and cognizant of. But even then, I want to kind of switch gears a little bit and
Mhm.
just kind of ask you about team building in real time. I would say, especially in the DevOps world and that in particular environment, how can both of those be enabled without slowing the progress?
As I said, the shifting left, I am involved in the design part and at the user interface design section, but
Hmm.
I'm continuously also involved in the rest of the development process. As a matter of fact, this morning we monitor two teams that work with the front end. We have Team Alpha and Omega, as a matter of fact, which is great. All the other teams are between Alpha and Omega, but that's beginning and the end. I monitor what they're doing as they're sitting there going through each one of the Jira tickets, what processes, what steps it in. If they have any issue concerning something right then, as they discuss it, we'll ask them, do you have a problem with an annotation? So every bit of the process is being monitored by me and another colleague. I'm on one team, she's on another, and we're both sitting there listening to both. And as a matter of fact, the head of our entire department, the manager, the UX architect is sitting there as well. So we have the head of the squad, both accessibility people, sometimes the publisher on there as well. So we're functioning and watching all the way through.
So in that regard, obviously you have different people in the forefront. They're able to
Hmm.
see and kind of maneuver. But even then, would you say that, or let me ask it this way,
Hmm.
even knowing those nuances and over the past 5 years, just as a whole, AI has definitely been taking over and changing the nuance of things. Where would you say you see the regulation or policy shaping the intersection over the next few years, especially now that AI is in the forefront?
I will go back to Public Enemy in 1989, even with Mike Tyson wearing the jacket. Don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype, fight the
Do
power.
not believe the hype concerning AI. That psychology part and the systems and all that. AI is great at doing a lot of things. I've been monitoring it since the first paper was written in 2012. I even read this initial papers in 5 different classes over 2 years. Buxton watched it all the way up to the transformer came out in 2017. Watched him build a 12-story building for machine learning at Georgia Tech. Blah, blah, blah. Was waiting for the Copilot to hit, and boom, now I can use PowerPoint. Does it help us in our design process so far over the year and a half? Zippo.
Mm.
It cannot do what we humans can do right now in the design. Yesterday we started our entire team. How can we best utilize AI and to help us? And one of the accessibility analysts was trying to use it with Figma Mate to create something. He told to do something. Every time he tried it to do something, it crashed.
Wow.
He said. when me kept trying to get it to do something, it has now crashed and cost me 4 hours of work, and it still won't do what I want to do. So we're now back. There's more hype in what they think it can do instead of what is it actually helping us to do on the job. So it's going to be a while before it's good enough to do what complex things that we have to do are required. So some of the easy things I can see, but so far it has not helped me or my team one iota in a year and a half.
Now,
Oh, go ahead.
and one thing I do want to add, as far as like policies go, um, right now, the EU AI Act, I think, is
Hmm.
one of the most solid, comprehensible, regulations out there. It's the start, it's the floor, it's not the ceiling. And I think if you're looking for something to refer to and look to, with combining both accessibility and access to it, as well as cybersecurity and their measurement and metric of safety and so forth, I think there's a little bit of work to be done there because they measure risk. And so with that being said, I think it is a great place to start. There might be organizations here that aren't global, but if you are looking to go global, you need to start there. You don't want to get hit with any of the penalties. If there are any British citizens over here or, utilizing your product and so forth, and they decide to opt out, you need to do so, or the penalties are significant, between fines, no longer getting access into the UK markets and so forth. But that's one thing that I think, even if you're using a third-party platform, you need to understand where the liability lands with those tools, and looking at those policies, all those boring little footers with the links and stuff. It would behoove you to look at, their data policy, privacy policy, terms of use, and have a good working knowledge of that if you're going to use, these tools to automate your systems for any type. If you're looking for innovation, if you're looking for content creation, you need to. And I really want to lean into the governance aspect, just 4 areas that really you can see the cross between cybersecurity and GRC, as well as accessibility, but fairness. Making sure that the data that you're utilizing is fair, and diverse, and that you are accompanying, or not accompanying, but accounting for all types of people within those data sets that you are training and testing on, including people with disabilities. We are we are not represented in a lot of data sets out there. And that's a shame because there's 1 in 4 Americans with a disability and 1 in 5 from the global population standpoint. That is a significant portion of the population that's not represented in data. Your second, bias mitigation. Again, that's biases that we're seeing, tools that we're unable to use, or just do a test right now. If you go on any frontier model and type out, doctor, you're not going to see a person with a disability, more likely than none, unless you've already trained, the model that you're using. So that is a test that I tell everybody just to do. Whatever model, just go in, type in doctor, and see what comes up. You might be surprised that it might not even be your ethnicity or gender. So that's, 1 area to look into. Transparency, being transparent about the AI tools that you're using. If somebody's going on your site, make sure that they know that it's a AI tool there. If you are using content, videos, or images, making sure that there's a watermark or some audio cue letting them know that it's there. Social media is trying to do a good job of letting people know that this is AI, generated content. And then the last one is accountability. We have to hold these companies accountable, especially within the finance sector, as well as the healthcare sector. When they are utilizing AI, within finance, they are determining whether you get a loan or not. That same tool is looking to see if there's any fraudulent activity. But we need to know why, what's behind the black box, and we haven't discovered that in the industry as a whole. So just wanted to throw that out there for those just curious or taking notes. So
No,
That
that's
that
definitely. Go ahead.
that part about holding people accountable. In the past, insurance companies used to be allowed to charge people that were blind more money because they said we were at higher risk of having accidents. it was proven with statistical data that we were no more prone to have accidents than anybody else, but that was just someone's assumption. So we were getting a wrong risk based, risk analysis based on what someone thought we might be susceptible to.
Yeah.
And if you don't know they're using these models, you're getting discriminated against and don't even know it.
Yeah. I mean, we've had the ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act, since 1990. We're just now having this conversation, if you think about it, about accessibility and cybersecurity. How many years, So just something to keep in mind.
Or how many types of basic home software is accessible when concerning accessibility. That's one of the biggest issues for people that blind if you're using screen reader. Does your antivirus, anti-malware program work with your screen reader?
Yeah.
You don't go for the best, you go for whatever you can get to work.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. That's a strong sentiment there that, again, a lot of people aren't aware of, but you guys are bringing knowledge and bringing that to light. So appreciate in that regard. Out of curiosity, both of you said two things that just kind of resonated with me. One, obviously, the European concept and compliance, and obviously we know about their GDPR and their data governance compliance. But even then, so say for instance, I'm a humble small company, and what would you say about organizations that think they're too small or they have too much high tech in their industry to be targeted? Like, what do you think those are the premises around that?
I'll let you take that one, Dr. Martin.
Your risk is just as bad as anyone else's risk is. The likelihood it's going to hit you is not going to be as high, but your
Mm.
risk can be worse because you're a smaller organization. All it takes is one good lawsuit for the smaller organization to be in big trouble. Like I always tell people, almost every bank has been sued for accessibility issues. Why? Because everybody uses the bank.
Absolutely.
That's the reason. Amazon was sued in the past. Why? Because everybody used Amazon. As I wrote a tongue-in-cheek nasty letter to Jeff Bezos back in 2014, 2015, saying, "See what happens when you make stuff accessible." Now, like all these years later, I bought 8,700 books in Audible. I bought 1,500 in Kindle. Boy, that accessibility is terrible, isn't it?
That's why. Now that you mentioned that, I feel like I always get those data breaches between Google, a bank, or anything that comes with little Amazon. Now that you
The
just mentioned that, now I
Capital
gotta
One,
be careful.
that's because that's a big database. If they're going to spend all this time trying to hack, and by the way, AI is being used for hacking like crazy. We're battling like crazy. You want to spend your time battling to get a big database, not a small one.
Absolutely. And the funny part is I used to work at a data center and obviously big data was the conversation then. So I can only imagine how much more like having to kind of rein in the issues between the cybersecurity and data management in that regard. And even staying on this kind of concept and notion, I got kind of one more question for you. If someone were to leave this session today and they just take one step this week, what should it be about guarding your security and having accessibility to be married together?
Uh, I had a friend, she's passed away now many years ago. She was visually impaired, and she was a rehab counselor. She used to be an EMT, then she was a rehab counselor and worked on a PhD in rehabilitation counseling. Some of her research showed that, quote unquote, most blind people are paranoid. And you're slightly paranoid because you don't know where your stuff is. So you're always hanging on to it. You like to touch it. She said, I always tell people if you want to be good and be safe as a blind person or as a person doing anything, be slightly paranoid.
Mm.
If you're slightly paranoid, you'll think about it all the time instead of going la 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 la. No, think it might happen because as a blind person, even if it doesn't happen, when it does happen, it's going to be less traumatic. And since I'm one of those go-getters, I have been hurt more than more people can imagine. But I probably gotten more done because I was willing to go and try those things, which is why I also had so many injuries. So.
Yeah, I think anybody within cybersecurity would tell you a healthy level of skepticism will go a very long way. And as a blind person, fellow blind person, paranoia all over the place. But um, just to add on to that, for those that are working in both areas, one thing that we face within the community, especially me as a blind person, uh, with my phone, I have an iPhone. If
Mm.
with my eyes, I have one that is a little this hazier than the other. So any type of retina scan, I'm gonna fail.
Ooh.
every single time. If you have a CAPTCHA and if you're not giving multiple modes of how to, gain access, whether it's audio challenge or visual challenge, if you're going to stick with a visual challenge, I'm going to get it wrong every time. So just giving people and really enforcing, it's become more popular now, MFA. And so just giving people multiple ways to access. Do not relegate it to just one point of entry or security to access any type of, resource or source. Make it, yes, add the phone number on top of that, the text message, add the, email, but give people multiple ways. Think about like within banking and finance, you only have a limited amount of time in order to access before it times you out. You might want to
Oh God,
consider. I
the
hear
timeout on you. The
the
timeout. That's
timeout.
the word.
Yeah. Be mindful of that. If you're, within the banking industry or any type, if you have a timer on that, it's not just relegated to people that are blind and low vision, because we're going to need a little bit more time to access whatever that is. That could be somebody with a mobility issue using a switch keyboard, which is a keyboard which they manage with, let's say, just their pointer finger. It's going to take time in order to go and navigate and type in passwords and so forth. So be mindful where you're putting those timed um, uh, access points, security points on your sites and so forth. So that's all I wanted to leave people with.
Come on now. I like that. So I would say as a whole, if we have to kind of wrap up the notion is one, it's okay to be paranoid because you need a little paranoia to get through from day to day. Two, hold companies accountable for any particular gaps that they have, and then be able to test out systems to see what the capabilities are to ensure they do have the proper cybersecurity and obviously accessibility for you. Would you say those are the kind of primary concepts you want people to take away with adding on to what you said?
Sounds like a great synopsis.
Yes, I agree.
We learned and listened there. Well, also with the group in that regard, I definitely want others to kind of give their thoughts and their concepts. So I think there's either a prompt that's going to be kind of going out there. So learning about today's connection between accessibility and as well as cybersecurity, where would you say as participants, do you feel like there's the greatest opportunity where at least those two areas could work together as well in your organization or maybe even your community? And we definitely want you to put that there in the chat so therefore we can have either a conversation or get some feedback from you guys. Let's see if I'm able to look in that. Oh, okay. We already got a couple. We got some web content accessibility guidelines from the WCAG. So the AAA that's regulated. That's awesome. They were able to get a little insights there. Does anyone else have some feedback or some insights that they want to provide from today's conversation and topic at hand? Don't be shy. This is a platform for all. Any questions that you have or any follow-ups, you definitely want to hear about them.
Have we been able to drop the debriefing question in the chat?
I just read it out loud, but see if there's more. I don't see it particularly in here, but I did read it. You want me to read it again?
If we can drop it in the chat and read it.
Let me see if I can do that on my end.
Yeah, and while Candice is doing that on her end, if you could type out, within the chat, the response to that, we will collect those responses, and those are going to be added into the data that we are collecting for our white paper that will come out following this, along with the updates and revisions that we're going to be making to our accessibility AI quotient framework. And so
I see a response here that after learning about the connection between, oh, I'm sorry, someone put the same put the same question I put in there in regards to the chat, what we kind of talked about today. And wasn't there also a survey somewhere also that I seen earlier if anyone wanted to give their feedback?
yeah. And so at the end of this, you will receive an email. There will also be a prompt that'll come up at the conclusion of this, as well as in the lobby. And so that is going to be conducted by the Watson Institute. And so if you can answer that, you will also be entered in to a giveaway, a possible giveaway of a $50 Amazon gift card. Y'all didn't even know it. And
Yeah.
Dr. was
Getting
shouting them
blessings.
out.
Getting
Yeah,
blessings.
so it all work together. But if you could answer that survey concluding this, that would be great. But if we have any feedback as far as the questions coming in.
I see a couple. Let me see. So Gene Parker kind of mentioned, therefore, keeping track of your stuff as a blind person simply isn't paranoia. It's common sense knowing that all the things that can happen. LOL in
I
that
have
regard.
I
Okay.
have I have people ask me what it's like to be blind. I say it's this simple. Where am I and where's my stuff?
No, that's it. I mean, my husband will attest to that. I'm always asking, just put it in my hand. Let me feel what it is. Like
Give it
if
to me. I'll know
yeah,
what
I don't want an audio description. Let me feel it with
where
my
am I?
hand.
Richard said, yep, he knows that for firsthand in that regard. So you definitely have to co-sign in that regard. There's just a lot of information. Someone said, talked about that. Can you include the link about the EU AI Act? So therefore, that was mentioned before. So we definitely want to get more insights on that one because again, different countries vary, different type of compliances, but it's always good to know. And I think you guys made a great point about reading the fine print, understanding what that includes in the accessibility. I think a lot of times we skim over subject matters and topics, but again, now I think it's going to bring some awareness where even myself, I need to kind of look at the fine print and kind of get myself aware and understand like where those gaps and kind of use that and just to be an advocate on my own as well. Let's see. I
Yeah.
see that survey link that's in there. We see the EU AI Act link that's there. So there's definitely a lot of information that you can utilize and educate yourself and moving forward in that regard. So I know that we're also coming up on time. Let's look and see. There's some more accessibility framework. Okay. Again, we got some good information. Continue exploring how accessibility and cybersecurity and AI can come together for your practices of your accessible AI quotient framework. So again, there's definitely great information out there, so therefore everyone can be educated. But Dr. Martin, I appreciate you for one, taking the time out, giving us insights, educating us, and making sure that we're fully aware of the nuances, not only in the banking system, but just as a whole, to make sure that we're guarding and keeping our security in compliance as well as just educating ourselves. So thank you for that in that regard. So Tiffany, I'll definitely hand it over to you, and anything else you want to add in that regard, we definitely will conclude.
No, I just want to thank you both for this conversation. I'm hoping this sparks more conversations like this with these two fields kind of coming together because there is a lot of overlap. This is one out of three in this webinar series. The next one coming up is CIA Civic Innovation and Accessibility. We will be joined. Candice is coming back to help us with that conversation, but
Woo-hoo.
we will be joined by Kate Carter. She is the AI program manager for the entire city of Tucson, Arizona. And we will also be joined by my mayor of the city of DeSoto, Mayor Rachel Proctor. And so they are going to talk about AI and accessibility within government. And so we're seeing a lot of smart cities pop up. But what does that look like for all of our citizens? And with AI, being used to manage a lot of systems, whether that's touch points for citizens or that's automation within the government, we need to know what that looks like. And so we're bringing in the heavy artillery. And then that'll be May 5th on Tuesday at the same time, 1 p.m. CST. And then our last webinar is going to be May 14th, and that's going to be at 6:30 p.m. And that is with Jason Caston. He is the Senior AI Manager of Strategy for Okta. And he,
Mm.
uh, ironically, came from Amazon. So he will be joining us. And we will also have the founder of the Black AI think tank, Stefan Youngblood, and he's doing an exceptional job in educating people for free. I want to put that out there.
Come on
He is
now.
doing that for free with the Black AI think tank. And so he will be leading that conversation, and that is May 14th. And we will be concluding the entire base camp with a live episode of The Blind Spot called Accessible Intelligence, the New AI. And that is with Sinji Tyson. She is remarkable. She is a part of
Absolutely.
our community, the blind and low vision community, and she has more degrees as a thermometer, more than a thermometer, just like Dr. Martin, and more letters behind her name than a mailbox. So you might want to come in, and we will be sharing that information. That will be live on our YouTube page on VisioTech University. And we will be sharing all of this information, but that episode will go live or will be going live May 21st in honor of Global Accessibility Awareness Day. And that is Thursday, May 21st. And so please join us. Thank you for being here with us today and joining in on this conversation. Again, please do that survey for us. We really appreciate it. And we will see y'all next week. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you guys. Have a great day, and thank you for your time.